here are some other symptoms of the guy who is a codependent, but who's actually is a codependent narcissist. Pursuing and remaining in relationships with partners who are emotionally erratic and need your help, or your advice, or emotional support, yet fail to reciprocate appropriately. Pursuing and remaining in relationships with partners who are emotionally depriving, or covertly abusive, or controlling, and not allowing this behavior, but are even, not only allowing this behavior, but are even forgiving of it. And giving a lot to others while not asking others to meet your needs, yet somehow hoping they'll eventually decide on their own to meet your needs out of appreciation for seeing how much you've done for them. That's the cry of the guy who got cheated on, right? Like, I did so much for her and yet, or like the nice guy who the girl goes back to the abusive ex. I did so much for her. I gave her everything. That phrase we hear, I gave her everything. That's a red flag. Or when a woman says, I gave him everything. Another red flag, right? Well, then why are you so angry about it? You're clearly just giving it because you're hoping that they'll see how much you've given and finally reciprocate. So you weren't really giving from your heart, right? It wasn't sincere. Now, some of you might have taken the rebel route. Some of you might have taken the recluse route. So I'm happy to deal with, answer questions on that. But by and large, the majority is taking the moving towards route. Another consequence of the moving towards is that you end up living through and for your romantic partners. And this is, guys, a common symptom is once they get into a relationship, they just disappear from from their friends and all that. And then they just become a couple. That's their entire life. Living through. And then it would be even worse if he ended up getting his pride from her accomplishments too. That would be another version of that. But living through and for your romantic partners. In other words, to do whatever you could to avoid emotional and physical abandonment and rejection, even if this sometimes leads to clinging, smothering, and jealous behavior, which would obviously produce the opposite effect and drive the person away. And then also the way you treat life. Overachieving and seeking perfection through roles, careers, partners that you think will please and impress other people. So if I get that hot girl, then my life is complete. I can finally rest. I don't need to go out and do this thing anymore. I got the hot girl. Then all the guys will look up to me and I'll be able to show her off and I finally arrived. I am indeed, this is proof that I've made it, that I am enough now. Right, so, well, I think you know, if you just examine yourself, that that's often what you're looking for. So this is a vicious cycle. The fixer needs to find and win over partners who are emotionally unavailable and are conditional with their approval, or it feels like a hollow victory for them because their core neediness remains. So in other words, if she likes him, he doesn't respect it. This is why you get these guys who start learning pickup, and then they string along a bunch of 5s and 6s, or they call them that, right? HB 5s and 6s, that they close in using the typical, they're not saying, hey, I'm in an open relationship before they have sex, right? It's just like what the pickup artists used to call tacit approval. Like if she asks, then you can say you're seeing other girls. But if she doesn't ask, well, then don't tell. Don't ask, don't tell. And so he just starts screwing over all of these girls that he finds less attractive, and then just like a sports fisherman, throws them back in the water. Because they feel like hollow victories. They're not the 10. Because only the 10 would show that he has arrived and he is worthy. So they're actually narcissists. And they're very dangerous people.